In this part of the world, in Nigeria, in Africa, it is difficult for people to share their experience. Most of the times, we go through things and we just let those things remain in our hearts and we carry this burden over and over. But in other part of the world, people go through things and their stories is what pays them in the long run. One of the examples of what I'm trying to talk about is my mentor Les Brown. Les Brown gets paid by telling his stories, his ordeals, good stories, challenging stories. He tells his stories. He's a good storyteller and he gets him paid. Whenever he's invited to speak, he talks about his experience in life. He also shares other person's experience. One of them is Chicken Man. He shares Chicken Man experience and it's something you can learn from. He also shared his experience about when he decided to buy his mama a home and then the title search was not well done and he had a challenge and he had to go over and over. His mother encouraged him and finally he eventually bought his mother a home. Les Brown also shared the challenge of how he went to see his friend in his classroom and the lecturer said, go to the board and write what I'm about to tell you, and he said, I'm not your student. And from there his breakthrough came when the man said, do not allow another person's experience of you become your reality. So it is very good, it is worth doing that we learn to share our stories. But why am I here today? I've had experience over time, and this experience is about making sacrifices for other people, and at the end of the day, to your face they don't recognize it. To your face they ask you, what have you done for me? To your face they say, we did not help you. They say to your face, they say, you did not help me. If you had helped me, you would not have done this, you would not have done this. In this part of the world, we have had experiences like this and we don't share them. I had an experience on the 25th of December 2023. At that time, I was not active in the real estate space. Somebody came to me and said he needed to borrow some money. At that time, I was actively into the POS business and I was also doing processing business. I had an office in UST, so people, those who trust us, entrust their money into our care and we help them process their admission and all that. And so I had the POS business as my side hustle at that time. Then school was not in session, it was closed for the Christmas holiday, and I was just trying to add up some extra hustle before school resumes, and then we'll go back to our normal work and so on. So somebody came to me, a customer of mine. I didn't know him too well, but I know he comes to do transactions with me and then he goes. So he came to me on this fateful day on the 25th of December 2023 and he said he needed some money, about 15,000. And then I paused for a while because I made a decision that I was no longer going to lend money to people because of the experiences I've had. Either they are not able to return my money or they return it late or stuff like that. It's really not advantageous to lend people money. The best you can do is, if anybody has problem, you check yourself and see what you can give to the person that will not affect you. You just support and he goes. He doesn't owe you anything, you don't owe him anything. That's the best way. One of the authors of the book I've read said so. He said, you don't lend people money, you are not a bank. If anybody wants to lend money, let them go to the bank. You can only support people, support them in such that you're not expecting anything in return. And so when on this fateful day when he came, I kept mute for some time. I thought about it because I already took a decision that I was no longer going to lend people money. After a very long time, I decided to yield, and then I asked him, I said, if I'm going to give you money, what are you going to drop as a collateral so that when you bring my money, I'll give it back to you? He said he had a bag of rice in his house. I said, I don't need a bag of rice. I don't need anything that will stress me because I'm trying to help you. He talked about his upholsteries. I said, I don't need them. Finally, he talked about his phone. I said, okay. I gave him the money to cut the long story short. He said he would be returning in 2 days to pick it, and I said there was no problem. So the next day he came around in the evening and said he wanted to check something with his phone. I gave it to him, and he checked, I think made some calls and stuff like that, and he turned it off and also gave me, and I kept it. Now 2 days from the day he borrowed the money from me, on the 27th of December 2023, around about 8 p.m, I was robbed in that spot by some gunmen who came with a taxi. They took my bag with his phone in it, with my Samsung tablet in it. They also collected the Android phone Oppo A76 I was holding in my hand. I had cash in the bag of over $500,000, because in 2023 we had scarcity of cash, for those of you who remember, and so we were stocking cash. In the slightest opportunity we had, they were selling it to us at the time, so we stock cash, and so that we can work for a period of time. So I was hoping that with the money I gathered that day, I could do the business for the remaining 3 days of the year, and then I take my holiday. But this incident happened that night, and it was a horrible night. Although psychologically we've gone past that now, but it was a very horrible night for me. Now on the 28th he came and said he came to return the money and said he needed his phone. I told him what happened. He said yeah, he heard about what happened. To cut the long story short, he kept demanding his phone, and I said I was not stable at the time. My phone was stolen. I had some challenges. I eventually managed to replace my phone after a short period of time, and that made him continue to pressure me to replace his phone. But the reason why I'm doing this video is what he said to me one of the days. I stood with him and one of my friends, and he was trying to tell him that I am not in a good position now, that I'm in a down position, that I just went through something. In fact, my friend asked him, what if they had shot me? Will he had come to somebody who is dead to demand for his phone? But thank God that was not the case. And he said he didn't care. My friend now said, this guy helped you. He helped you solve a situation. The story he gave me at that time was that he worked for his boss, and he sent his boss money to his mom. So he needed me to give him some money to pay his boss, and that he didn't need embarrassment from his boss. So my friend now said, this was what you said, and this guy saved you from this situation. Why are you coming at him like this? To cut the long story short, the matter got to the police station. While my friend was talking to him, he made a statement. He said, I did not help him. That if I had helped him, I would not ask him to drop his phone. I took that statement as a lesson. I learned from it. You don't cry over a dead dog or flog a dead horse. So I learned from it. To cut the long story short, the matter ended in the police station, and I was given 3 months rather, to provide his phone, to buy him a new phone, because obviously the phone is gone and I just have to buy a new one. But God being there, we surmounted all of those challenges, and then we took the lesson. I've also had other challenges like that, but I'm out here to say, do well to tell your stories. It could encourage someone, it could teach someone, it could help someone. You never know. Don't be scared of life. Don't be scared to approach life. Don't be scared to support people. Don't be scared to help people. But don't lend somebody an outrageous amount of money that you might regret. In my case, it was not outrageous, but the circumstances that surrounded it. For a transaction of just 15,000, I bought a phone of over 200,000 naira for somebody else, and all other psychological challenges that came with it. It's not really easy, but we keep pushing. One day we will turn on the camera and we will tell good stories and good achievements that will also empower others, and that is it. That is just it. My name is Alvin of Port Harcourt. I hope you're good. I hope you're doing all right. I hope business is fine. If there is any challenge and you want to share business wise, you can send me a DM. My DM is always open. Don't be scared. Whatever goals you've set for the year, you're going to achieve them.